Hello, my spooky little friends. Today we're going to go ahead and review the first episode of the new season of American Horror Story 1984. I'm super excited about this season. I love slasher movies, and this is going to be a good one. I have very positive feelings about this season. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy. So, right when we start this new season, the opening scene starts in 1970. So, in the intro, we're introduced to three teenagers in a cabin where everyone else is sleeping, but these three are up to no good, making out, kissing, and it looks like they're on the verge of having a threesome. One of the girls keeps hearing noises, but she tries to ignore it as she's getting in the mood with the other two. Unfortunately for them, they're in a slasher, so that means they're going to die. Two of them are killed. The guy is stabbed in the neck, the other girl is stabbed in the mouth. The killer pulls out his knife and then lays his eyes on the second girl. She tries to run away. Unfortunately, she falls out of the bed and does not get very far. This opening scene definitely has a heavy influence from Friday the 13th, where the two counselors are caught by the killer trying to have sex and they are slaughtered. So I definitely love the throwback to that classic movie, and I am just loving these vibes from this first episode. As the killer drags this girl's body, you kind of see that everyone in the cabin is now slaughtered, dead, and there's a bloody mess all over the place. So summer camp for 1970 was definitely a bad experience for these campers. And I am totally in love with this intro. I'm so excited for this season, guys. Love slasher movies. I'm totally getting Friday the 13th vibes, as I said before, but also I'm getting vibes from other movies as well. And we'll kind of mention them as we progress through this first episode. But definitely I love the hints from the previous cult classics that kind of are highlighted in this episode. The creators really did a great job for the fans, and if you love slashers, I highly recommend watching this season. It's just like watching a movie from the 80s. Honestly, they did a really great job with the whole vibe and look of the 80s, and I really hope this season doesn't lose focus, so we'll see. In the past seasons of American Horror Story, some have kind of lacked towards the middle of the season, so I really hope that does not happen here. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the main characters here in a minute, and kind of go through what I think the vibes that I get from these characters. So the first character that we're introduced to is Xavier, who is running the aerobics class and definitely getting everyone pumped up and in shape. He definitely is full of life, and I feel like he is going to be a fun character this season. I really like this actor from last season, Apocalypse. There were times where the season wasn't strong, but the actor himself just did a really great job with the material that he had. And I'm really excited that Cody Fern is back this season. And I don't think he's going to be playing a bad guy this season, since last season he pretty much was the son of Satan. So I don't think they're going to go that route again for him. So I think they're going to more have him be a good guy. But we'll see how it goes. Next up, we are introduced to Montana, played by Billie Lourd, who you may recognize from last season's Apocalypse and also Scream Queens, and she's also been in Star Wars. Billie is an amazing young actress. and she's definitely going places, in my opinion. I'm so happy she's back for this new season, and I just love that she's kind of like playing like a bad girl. Her character definitely comes across as like overly sexualized and a little trampy and naughty, but I'm really interested to see like where that's gonna go in the storyline. So just really happy she's in this season, and I think she's a great addition to the series. Now we're introduced to Ray, who is a new actor in the American Horror Story series. I don't remember seeing him in anything before. I had to look on IMDb, but it does look like he has been in Dear White People, Burning Sands, and also Lethal Weapon, the TV series. I would just say though, I love his energy. He has a great smile, and I think his character is just gonna be kind of like funny. I feel like he's kind of like gonna be like the token black character in a slasher movie. I hope he's not the first to die, but if they're staying true to like the classic slashers, he's probably gonna be the first guy to die. But with it being American Horror Story, there may be some twists and turns. Next up, we're introduced to Chad, who is played by a new actor in the series, Gus Kenworthy. I have never seen him in anything before, so I looked him up on IMDb, and he has a few things under his belt. It looks like he was in a movie called Olympic Dreams. The next movie I'm going to mention, I think is just hilarious, but he was in Sharknado 5 for Sci-Fi, and then he's also been in the TV show The Real O'Neills. So I really don't have any opinion about the actor, unfortunately, but I am excited to see him play Chet, who definitely appears to be like a jock type character or a meathead. He's probably going to be a little hot-headed or temperamental, maybe the muscle of the group as well. But it's definitely going to be exciting to see where his character goes in this season. Last but not least, we're introduced to Brooke, who is played by Emma Roberts. You may recognize Emma from previous seasons of American Horror Story, especially Calvin and Apocalypse, and she's also starred in Scream Queens. Now, Emma is no stranger to slasher movies. She also starred in Scream 4. So right off the bat, Emma's character, Brooke, seems to be kind of like a good girl, virginal character. Definitely portraying like the final girl. At least I feel like that's what the creators are going for with this character. I don't know if I trust that vibe though. Feel like there's gonna be a twist, and I definitely getting like other movie vibes from her, and I'll kind of like dive into that deeper as we talk more about the characters. But yeah, Brooke is the last major character that we're introduced to in this aerobic scene. So the next scene, we have the two female characters, Brooke and Montana, in the shower. So they're definitely cleaning up after their workout, and Montana introduces herself to Brooke. So it appears that Brooke is like new to the gym, and she doesn't really know anyone yet. And Montana definitely wants to get to know her and is checking her out. And she lets Brooke know that she noticed that Brooke was checking out Chet as they were working out. And if she wants to get to know him, Montana will definitely go ahead and hook them up so they could get to know each other. Brooke kind of like lets her know that she's not really interested in that, and kind of like leaves the shower. Montana kind of makes the comment like the last American virgin, kind of saying that Brooke seems to be like an innocent girl, and I think that she sees her as a challenge. And in the next scene, we have the girls walking out of the showers into like the main lobby of their gym. And I want to point out, so this whole scene like really reminds me of, I don't know if anyone has seen Death Spa or even it kind of gives me vibes of Demons too, just like the whole like gym layout and the color scheme that people are wearing. So it definitely gives me like vibes of those two movies. If you have not seen Death Spa, I recommend it. I know it was like on Amazon Video not too long ago. I don't know if they still have it, but if you want like some fun slasher movie, it's definitely a fun watch. It's basically about like a gym that's haunted by a spirit, and it has some really crazy kill scenes in it. It's totally cheesy, but if you're wanting more of like an 80s marathon of films, definitely check it out. So going back to this scene, we have the two girls who are approaching the front desk in the lobby where the three guys are chatting. We overhear Xavier telling Chet and Ray a story about recent killings in the news in the LA area, and that there is a new serial killer on the loose whose name is the Night Stalker. So the conversation comes to a halt about the Night Stalker when Montana introduces Brooke to the three guys. Everyone seems very friendly, and everyone is kind of like going through how everyone knows each other in the social circle. It becomes knowledge that Xavier and Montana used to date, and they met when Montana accidentally hit Xavier in a traffic accident, causing him to miss trying to get like an audition for the TV show MASH. He also expresses that he is a serious actor and not just some Coca-Cola commercial soap opera type actor. He's a real actor, like a movie actor. So guys, I want to point out something really quick. There was a comment on here. So when Brooke is introduced to everyone, she's like, oh, so you guys all know each other. And Xavier makes the remark, well, it's LA. We don't all really know each other. So that kind of like raises a flag for me that even though they are like, so, like, you know, friends, they don't really know anything about each other really. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, what are the characters hiding from each other, or like what kind of history does each character have? So I thought that was like a little odd to say, but it definitely like raised a red flag for me. So I just wanted to go ahead and point that out real quick. And I also want to say that this picture here of Brooke is giving me like strong sleepaway camp vibes of Angela. And I don't know if it's intentional or not, but she looks just like Angela in Sleepaway Camp to me in this photo. She definitely has a little bit of crazy eyes, in my opinion. So we'll see if that plays out, but I don't think Brooke is as innocent as she looks. So now we get into the juicy part of how the kids end up counselors at the summer camp. So Xavier, definitely leading the conversations, is talking about how this summer in LA is going to be very similar to the summer of Sam, and he is not going to stick around in LA during these murders. So that is why he got a job at a summer camp at Redwood. He lets the others know that they need summer camp counselors and that they should totally come along. After he says that, each of the characters pretty much say how like they have reasoning for wanting to get out of LA for the summer. For Ray, he's just excited to leave LA for his own reasons. We don't know yet. But he's like, I'm ready to get out of this town, and I definitely want to go to the summer camp and get out of the city. For Chet, Chet pretty much is upset because the Olympics are happening, and it seems that he was supposed to take part in the games, but he is not. So he just goes along with going and working at a summer camp for summer. Montana, she is totally for it. She wants to go. And her reasoning is because she wants to lead an aerobics class. Pretty much her dream job is to become like a famous like aerobics instructor. Then everyone kind of like turns to Brooke and tells her if she wants to come along, she's more than welcome because the camp doesn't really have any counselors and they really could use the extra help. Brooke thanks everyone, but she says that she's not interested because this summer she's going to go ahead and take summer courses at the local college and she's not going to go to the summer camp to work. But Montana, hoping for a change of heart, lets Brooke know that if she changes her mind, give her a call and writes her phone number so Brooke could contact her. Everyone's going to leave the next day to go to summer camp. So if she does have a change of heart, it's going to have to be pretty much really quick. Afterwards, we follow Brooke heading home, and it appears she lives a pretty lonesome life. She's all by herself eating dinner. She's kind of like moping around her apartment, and we notice that she has a jewelry box with a couple jewelry items in it, particular a diamond ring that she stares at for a moment before she closes the box. Pretty much out of nowhere when Brooke is sleeping though, a man breaks into her apartment attacking her, and it appears to be the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. Brooke, of course, is scared as hell, and he asks her where the ring is, which, red flag, guys. That seems very odd that he would just know that she had the ring, but anyways, Brooke points to where her jewelry box is. Richard Ramirez grabs it, and then he kind of like messes with her and continues to attack her in her apartment. Brooke goes into fire mode and hits him over the head with an iron skillet and makes enough commotion to where one of the neighbors hollers that he's calling the cops and asking if she is okay. So we're led to believe that the Night Stalker is about to run out of the apartment and escape. But before he leaves, he lets Brooke know that he will find her and that Satan will lead him towards her. So there's that. And the next scene, we see Brooke pretty much on the trip to Redwood Camp. So it appears that this whole experience has scared her enough to where she is going to get out of town and go with these people that she just met and work at a summer camp for summer. I know it sounds crazy and doesn't make much sense, but that is what's going on. Cut to the next couple of scenes where the kids are in the van driving to a Redwood camp. So this definitely gives me Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes while they're driving in the van, talking and joking around with each other. We learned that Chet definitely failed a drug testing, so that is why he is not partaking in the Olympics. And everyone else is kind of like messing with some drugs, and Montana expresses to Brooke how she's happy she's come along and not to worry about the Night Stalker. There's no way that he's gonna find her in Camp Redwood. There's no way. And we know in a slasher movie, if a killer is going to come after you, they will find a way to get to you. Again, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the kids pull into a gas station to get some gas, and Xavier goes to one of the payphones to make a call, or check his voicemail actually, and he has this creepy message from a male voice saying that he is going to find him, and it's definitely a threat, and it raises suspicions. Who's after Xavier? We don't know yet. And then also, I want to say, this is actually kind of funny. So the gas attendant that helps them, I was like, wait, he looks just like Patrick Swayze. I literally had to like pause the episode and Google it, and I Googled Patrick Swayze's brother, and legit, he's Patrick Swayze's brother. Looks just like him. There's a reason he's his brother. So I thought that was like a funny little tidbit there. But I thought you guys may get a little giggle out of that. I don't know if you realized it or got vibes that he looked just like Patrick Swayze, but he did for me. All right, so as the kids are getting up to leave the gas station, the gas attendant asks them where they're heading to, and they let him know they are heading to Camp Redwood to be camp counselors. And he lets them know it's a bad idea. You all are going to die. So just like in Friday the 13th, there's a crazy old guy telling them that they're going to die. And what do our main characters do? They just laugh it off and think he's just a crazy old dude, as anyone probably would. And we are not on the road for very long. Our new camp counselors are trying to get to camp, but unfortunately for them, they are not paying attention to the road, and they hit a hitchhiker. Everyone jumps out to see what's going on, and it kind of gives you like I know what you did last summer vibes. Xavier is telling everyone that, you know, this guy has like old bruises and marks, and he's been hurt before. This was not from us and is not our responsibility. We cannot tell anyone that we hit him. Thankfully, the hitchhiker is not killed, but he definitely is injured. So the group comes to the conclusion, let's take him to the camp to get some help. So our camp counselors finally arrived to Camp Redwood, and as we see in some of these images, the camp is large, and they are definitely going to be isolated in a large forest, and they're going to be kind of far away from the city, and also far away from any help. So they are definitely going to have a very interesting summer trying to survive. As our camp counselors head off onto the campsite, they are met by the camp owner, Margaret Booth. Margaret Booth is played by Leslie Grossman, who has been in previous seasons of American Horror Story, and also has been in the series Popular, and she has definitely worked with Ryan Murphy before. She's a pretty funny actress, so I'm glad to see her return in this new season. Her character definitely seems a little bit odd, and she is definitely like very strict and has a lot of rules that she lays down for her new camp counselors. Some of the rules are that the girls have to shower during the day, the guys shower at night. Same rule for campers and camp counselors. She also makes it known that she does not believe that the camp counselors should be partaking in any bad activities such as sex or smoking drugs or anything that is deemed dirty. She wants them definitely to be clean and pure, and lays those grounds down on her camp. Chet asks Margaret if they are the only camp counselors, as she lets them know that the campers are coming the next day. She says, yes, you guys are definitely the only ones here. She is short-staffed due to the Olympics, and that just meant she was not able to hire anyone else. I don't know about you guys, but I find that story a little hard to believe, and getting kind of like weird vibes from her, so not gonna lie. And I think Xavier also is thinking something doesn't seem right just by the look that he's giving Margaret. And after all is said and done, our camp counselors let Margaret know that they have an injured person in their van who is a hitchhiker. She definitely goes ahead and says, let's take this person into the infirmary and get them looked at by Nurse Rita. Next up, we meet Nurse Rita, who is played by actress Angelica Ross. Now, Angelica is a new actor to this series, so let's welcome her as well. And it looks like she has been in a few other series. She's also starred in Pose, Claws, and has also been in The Daily Show. So let's definitely welcome her. She seems like a character that knows what she's doing. She's taking care of the hitchhiker, and she lets Ray know and the group that, hey, guys, don't worry, he's not going to die on my watch. I'll take care of him. So she definitely has a medical background, and our group are relieved to know that the hitchhiker is not going to die today. He's going to be okay. Our next character of the season, we meet Chef Birdie. Chef Birdie is played by actress Tara Tarzan, and I don't know much about her, but I really do enjoy this character. Chef Birdie is full of spunk and definitely holds her own. When Xavier makes a comment, dibs, she lets him know that he cannot handle her and wouldn't know what to do with it if he did have her. So that is hilarious. Margaret also lets it known that Chef Birdie has worked at the camp for a long time and worked there when she was a counselor. Chef Birdie does make the comment that it was a shame that one bad apple ruined it for everyone, making Margaret give an odd stare. So there's definitely some history that has gone on, which we have not been introduced yet, but we will soon find out. As our new hires wrap up their training, Margaret Booth lets them know that they must listen to the rules and abide by everything that she has laid out. That she does not support the sexual revolution, and she does not support the lifestyle choices that are made in the 80s. Definitely not her cup of tea. She lets them know that her husband, who passed away, left her his fortune, and she is using that money to reopen the camp to make a clean lifestyle choice for her campers and promote that positive lifestyle. Alright, now we go ahead and go into nighttime at Camp Redwood. We have our camp counselor group, Nurse Rita, and they are by the campfire talking about how odd it is that none of them have a history of working at a camp before. Rita does not have a history of being a camp nurse before, and it's just really odd that they've been hired with no past experience. As they are all talking, they talk about the history of the camp, and Rita mentions the reason why they were all hired is due to the dark past of Camp Redwood. Rita goes on to talk about Mr. Jingles, who worked at the camp back in the 70s. He had a dark history where he was in Vietnam, and he had a tendency to cut off his victims' ears and wear them as a necklace as a trophy. Well, when the army found that, they went ahead and gave him a dishonorable discharge, and he was unable to find any work other than working at the summer camp in the 70s. Mr. Jingles received his nickname due to the keys hooked on his pants, and he definitely was a quiet person and definitely gave the campers creepy vibes as he cleaned up the camp. One night, unfortunately, Mr. Jingles went on a rampage and killed 10 victims. As Rita finishes the story, Margaret walks over and tells her, if you're going to tell a story, go ahead and tell it right. There were 9 victims, not 10. Margaret lets everyone know that she was going to be the 10th victim, but survived. On a flashback of that night, Margaret lets everyone know that she heard the jingles and he had attacked her. And through the grace of God, she laid there motionless and saw the light to find strength to survive. And as we see in this clip, she is actually staring into a light bulb from the light above. Any which way, it gave her strength. And according to Margaret, when Mr. Jingles laying down to cut off her ear, she did not flinch, she did not move, she laid as if she was dead. And thanks to this, she was able to survive the night. The kids ask what happened to Mr. Jingles after everyone was killed, and she lets them know that he was arrested shortly after and that she was a star witness in his trial. Mr. Jingles was found guilty and that she has moved on from this experience. She lets everyone know that the campers are coming tomorrow again and that this is the last time she wants anyone to mention Mr. Jingles and that fateful night. After that story of survival, we go back to the infirmary where we see the hitchhiker has woken up. He gets out of bed and he seems very confused as to where he is, and he heads to a mirror. And it is revealed that he is also missing his ear, the same as Margaret. So that would mean that he is also one of the victims of Mr. Jingles. But how is that possible if there were 9 victims and Margaret was the 10th? So that would mean that there were only 8 victims, not 10. But we'll explore that later on further down the road. And moments later, for reasons unknown, Brooke enters the infirmary looking around for something. She stumbles into the hitchhiker, who is walking around confused. He lets Brooke know that she should not be there. Brooke, unsure what he means by this, takes him back in bed and tries to get him to settle down. Afterwards, Brooke heads back to the cabin with the other counselors. As Brooke is talking to everyone in the group, it seems like she is on edge, and she's pretty much expressing that something bad is going to happen and that things are not right. I think everyone in the group is just kind of like taking everything that she is saying with a grain of salt. And I mean, Brooke just said the night before she was attacked by the Night Stalker. Now they have that campfire tale of Mr. Jingles. And I think everyone just thinks, you know what, Brooke just needs to chill. She's on edge and not really taking her warning signs literally and kind of ignoring her. Next up, I think everyone is starting to get a little weirded out by Brooke, and all of a sudden we hear little jingle noises outside. All of a sudden the door opens and we have a new character. It's Trevor Kirshner, played by Matthew Morrison from Glee. He walks in and lets everyone know that they should not be fraternizing with each other. And then he lets everyone know he's joking. He is not really taking Margaret's rules seriously, and he really just says he doesn't care. He lets everyone know that he's the activities director for the camp, so technically he's their supervisor, but he's like a really chill person. Some of the folks say they kind of like recognize him, and he lets them know that he was in the intro to Three's Company as a background actor. And Montana says she recognizes him from the Jane Fonda videos, to which he confirms he was in the workout video. But later on, they cut him out because he was too distracting from his manhood, which is clearly visible from the 80s shorts. And it's very weird. And Montana lets it be known that she's very attracted to him. And I think the feeling is mutual for his character as well. Shortly after their introduction, Montana and Trevor sneak off into the lake and they fool around. It starts to storm, and all of a sudden, like, Montana notices there's headlights in the distance, and she kind of gets spooked out. She doesn't mention, though, to Trevor that there's headlights that have parked nearby them, but she instead says the weather's getting bad. And fear of lightning striking, they should go ahead and head out of the water. We now cut to the mental hospital, very much similar to Halloween, guys. So guess what? Mental patients have broken out on the stormy night, and we're introduced to Dr. Karen Hopple, who arrives to check in on the status of the patients. And guess what? Mr. Jingles has broken out of the mental hospital. He kills one of the orderlies and sneaks out. And guess what? He is heading to our camp. By foot, Mr. Jingles heads to the gas station where our camp counselors were before earlier in the day. He goes ahead and kills the gas station clerk and then steals his keychain full of keys to steal his truck to drive over to Camp Redwood. So our young group of camp counselors are watching the Olympics on TV in their cabin. Chet seems to have a fit all of a sudden, just upset that he is not a part of the ceremony. And he pretty much is rude to everyone, including Brooke. And he ends up cutting Ray's hand by throwing a bottle at him. Ray tries to get help from Nurse Rita, who tells him, "Hey, I'm off the clock. This is all you." So Ray heads to the infirmary. Brooke follows, and it appears they have a short little moment where Brooke may have feelings for him, and it may be mutual. But with her possibly being the final girl, that may not be the best news for Ray. Brooke tries to go ahead and look for medicine for Ray's hand in the medicine cabinet, and she starts to hear noises and turns around and sees the hitchhiker has been killed and is hanging off the door, and then sees Mr. Jingles in the window staring at her. She runs for dear life, and she's slipping and falling just in slasher movie mode, and makes a mess all over, covered in mud, running into the cabin where her friends are. She lets them know that Mr. Jingles is real. He's at the camp and he's trying to kill her. Of course, this is a lot for them to take, and no one's really believing her. Just to try to calm her down, they go ahead and follow her back to the infirmary, where they do not find any evidence that the hitchhiker has been killed. They pretty much think he probably just went ahead and got up and just took off. All of a sudden, the door swings open in the infirmary, and we see a silhouette of someone standing in the rain in a raincoat. Is it Mr. Jingles? Is it the killer? No, it's Margaret Booth. Margaret tells everyone, "What are you guys doing up?" And she looks at Brooke and says, like, what is going on, girl? Like, why are you so dirty? Cleanliness is close to godliness, so please go clean yourself up. She lets the staff know that they need to stop goofing around and head to bed because they have a big day the next day with all the campers coming. Later on in the night, we see everyone kind of like sleeping, and Brooke is cleaned up, but she hears the phone ringing outside. There's a payphone that is like close by their cabin, and she wakes up Montana. Montana wakes up holding a knife, and Brooke is pretty much like, why are you sleeping with a knife? Which is a silly question, in my opinion, considering how Brooke has pretty much said there's a killer in the camp. Why aren't you sleeping with a knife, Brooke? But anyway, Montana has no interest in answering the ringing phone and falls back asleep. Next, we have Brooke sneaking out of the cabin to walk to the payphone that is ringing in the middle of the night. Now, in my opinion, this is not the smartest move, and maybe our Brooke here is maybe having hallucinations. I mean, why would she be walking in the middle of the night by herself after being attacked the night before and then being attacked again by Jingles? Does it make sense for her to walk out by herself in this unsafe environment? No, but maybe she's not all there. Maybe she's a little crazy, psychotic. That's kind of like what I'm thinking, but we'll figure it out later. Anyway, Brooke answers the phone, and I need to replay it, but it sounded something like something saying, and she hangs up the phone because she doesn't get any further reply on it. We then get a clip in the distance of the Night Stalker, and he is at Camp Redwood as well. So it now appears that we have not one but two possible killers at Camp Redwood. Is this real, or are these hallucinations of Brooke? We just don't know yet. So I really appreciate everyone watching my quick little summary review of episode 1 of American Horror Story 1984. I wanted to go ahead and really give like a detailed review of this first episode due to us just like meeting all the new characters and kind of like really diving into the plot of this season. I plan to go ahead and do reviews of episode 2 and 3 coming up. They probably won't be as detailed, but I definitely want to go ahead and just chat about those episodes with everyone. So I'm definitely interested in exploring some theories of this season and also trying to predict like the outcome as well. But I want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who joined me on this review. Please give my video a thumb up if you enjoyed it. And if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.